So in this video, I'm going to show you how to pick up a purl stitch. So if I've dropped a stitch or made a mistake on the purl side, I'm going to show you how to pick those stitches up. We've seen how to pick up a knit stitch, and now we'll see how to pick up a purl stitch. Now, just a quick note here. So this is a rib. So I've got one side knit, purl, knit, purl. If I flip it over, as I drop more stitches, as I flip it over, it'll be the opposite. So it'll look like I've dropped a knit stitch on this side. So it looks like a purl stitch on this side and a knit stitch. That's what happens when you do a stocking stitch. When you're doing a stocking stitch, one side is all knit and the other side is all purl. It's different from a garter stitch. A garter stitch is when you knit every row. So both sides look identical. So the way you pick up a stitch on a garter stitch fabric is different than it is on a stocking stitch or a rib or anything that would involve this kind of look. So I'm going to show you this way first, which will then make it easier, and it'll make more sense when I show you how to do it on the garter stitch. Okay, so let's say I have dropped a purl stitch and I need to pick it up. Again, I can either work across the stitches, meaning knit 5 and purl 3 and then fix my mistake, or I can just slip these stitches onto my other needle and come and fix my mistake. So I'm just going to slip my stitches purl-wise to where my mistake is, which is right here. Now again, what I would usually do in a situation like this, I would just flip my work and pick them up as a regular knit stitch. I find it's easier and quicker to do it this way. So I'll show you quickly again how to do it. You want to pick up your loop through the front, and you want to make sure that there are no twists in the loop you've picked up. So for example, here, there's no twist, it's straight. If I was picking it up like this, there's a twist right there. We don't want that. So here, this way, it's straight. There's no twists. So if I were picking it up knitwise, I come in from the front, I come in underneath, making sure I work every row, underneath that row, and scoop it through. I come in underneath, grab it, and scoop it through. And I would do this all the way up. Whoops. So if it is a stocking stitch and it was on a purl side that I dropped it, it doesn't matter which way you pick it up. It's still going to look and work fine. But let's say it's purl stitches and it's a complicated pattern and I can't turn it over and I have to pick them up on the purl side. That's not a problem. Notice how when you're knitting, your yarn is in the back and you're knitting through the front going up. And purl is the opposite, where you bring your yarn forward and you go down into the stitch. Well, picking up stitches is backwards and the opposite as well for purl. For knitting, you come in front of the yarn. For purling, you want to be behind the row, behind the yarn that you're scooping up. So essentially what you need to do is you need to go above the row you're knitting, then you hook up your stitch. Again, not twisting or anything, so I'm hooking it up from the back to the front. I'm just going to bring it behind that first row. I'm going to go ahead and scoop it in, and now I've pulled it up. Now I need to go to my next row, which is here. So again, I want to go behind that stitch. So what you can do at this point is you can either slip your hook if you have double pointed needles and work from it this way, or you have to take your hook out and come in from this angle and scoop it up. And that allows you to go, the way I scooped it up takes me already behind my next row. I can take it out. I come in. I scoop it up, and that already takes me up to the next one. I'm going to use my thumb to hold, I hold this knot in place so it doesn't unravel while I take my hook out, go between the two rows, come in behind, again, not twisting. If I come in the front and then I do this, I have now created a twist. I don't know if you can see it right there. So I can't come in from the front. I have to come in from behind that loop so that I don't twist it. And then I scoop up that yarn through and I come up behind that stitch. Again, I hold on to that purl knot, take my hook out, and because I am holding on to it here, it's not going to unravel. Come in from behind, scoop it up, and there we go. So as you can see, it is a lot easier and quicker to do knit stitches, but you can definitely do purl stitches too. So that's how you can do that. Now, if I were doing a garter, picking up on a garter stitch, and then you slip your stitches back and you're ready to keep working. If I were doing it on a garter fabric, I want you to notice the difference. These are all purls. They're all purls. Every row is a purl row. Whereas here, I have one purl row, one knit row, one purl row, one knit row. So I need to pick up one stitch knitwise and one stitch purlwise, one knitwise and one purlwise. And that is how you would pick up a garter stitch. So let's say I have a mistake somewhere in the middle here and I'm just slipping my stitches over. And I'm just going to drop a random one and bring it down. All right, so now I'm here and I have to pick up my stitches. Now the first thing I need to determine is, do I need to do a knit or a purl stitch? What do I need to do? So I'm just going to pick up my loop and pull to see what I have. And if I'm holding on to this like this, that looks like a knit stitch that I finished there. So the next stitch I need to do is a purl stitch. So I'm going to come up to my next row, which is this strand. And if I'm purling, I need to go behind it. I need to bring this row in front of my stitch. I need to put my needle in from the back and grab the working yarn or the row and bring it through. So now that purl stitch matches the other purl stitches on that row. So if I did a purl, the next row has to be a knit. So I'm going to come in here and I look, and that's the next one. So I come in from underneath, I grab it and pull it through. So if that was a knit, the next one is a purl. I look for my next row, which is here. I need to bring this loop behind that row, which is right there. I'm going to hold the stitch with my left thumb. I bring up my loop. I bring my hook through the loop from the back. I grab it and pull it through. If that was a purl, the next one is a knit. So I'm going to grab that, oops, grab it and knit. The next one is a purl. So I need to go behind my next row, which is right there. So sometimes it doesn't want to go behind, so I'll just leave my loop there. And I physically bring the yarn in front of it. My hook goes behind I grab it, and the next one is a knit. Bring it up, and there we go. I've picked up my garter stitch. All right, I hope that was helpful.